What's going on, everyone? Paul Donis Maximus here. Thanks for checking out the AI Filmmaking Advantage, where here we talk about how to make and monetize AI filmmaking. And in this video, I want to share with you guys an update for creating consistent characters. As you know, in the past, I shared with you a consistent character workflow that I created within Flora AI. It works pretty flawlessly. But for instance, if you watched one of those videos that I made in the past, and then you went and tried to do the exact same thing that I did with that workflow, things may work out differently than what you'd expect. And believe it or not, this update that Flora implemented, it actually broke things. But I actually worked alongside them to get things back to where they should be, which resulted in a little toggle that, yep, I'm taking credit for because I worked with them to get things reverted back to the way it was before they implemented this change. Because to be honest with you, and I've expressed this with them, the change they did made no sense. And I'm going to let you guys judge for yourself as we step through this. But again, the main point of this video is going to not only center around this workflow that I gave you guys, but also the elements feature, because this is what we're using in conjunction with that in order to do some cool things like putting your consistent character in multiple scenes and making your consistent character look consistent throughout. But again, if you try to do the same thing that I've shown you in previous videos, it may not work out exactly. So I'm going to show you what's changed and what to do going forward so that it works as expected. So as always, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get into the video right now. Okay guys, so in order to explain what happened and how you want to do consistent characters going forward with Flora AI, we first have to remember exactly how we got here. If you remember, I put together this workflow for you that you can download for free. And yes, it's free because if you use our partner link in the description below this video, you'll get free credits to test this out at no charge. And the other cool thing is, if you do decide to subscribe to Flora after you've run out of all of your free credits, then you will receive a 25% discount off of your first 12 months if you decide to subscribe, and only if you use our partner link in the description below this video. But anyway, this method works pretty flawlessly, but what's even doper is that you can come over to here and they've got this thing called elements. Now, they ended up changing this, and as a result of my complaining, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, you can thank me for this button right here. And as you can see, there's something a little weird going on here. I'm going to explain all of it in the video, I promise. But I just want to point out that this green button up here was not here a few days ago. And just so you don't think that I'm bullshitting you, again, you guys know that I am a creative partner with Flora AI. What's awesome about this team is, for the most part, they listen to your feedback. They didn't listen to my feedback on that MCP tool. That's another story for another day. But in this case, they listened. And I'm going to explain to you why this green button is so important. But another thing I want to mention is that I don't know what all rules they have about these conversations that we have within the Creative Partner Program, so I'm blurring out a lot of things. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm not making any of this up. But let's continue on. So let's quickly walk through the process of how we got to that point so that you understand where all of this is coming from. As you know, I gave you this workflow. You can create a consistent character. It gives you lots of different angles, which is very awesome. It helps you to get a good idea, or rather, you help the AI get a good idea of what your consistent character looks like. After you generate those images, you can upscale them, and then I like to break them out like this. And you then want to download all of the images, and then you come over here to this elements feature, say new element. In the past, there was a time where you could add up to the limit of how many images Nano Banana takes. I believe it's either 11 or 14. And if we come to the old element that I have and I click edit elements right here, you can see that there were 11 images here, but they recently changed it to where now they only allow up to 8 inputs. I can kind of see why this makes sense. Maybe because if you think of GPT Image 2 and Riverflow, I think they only accept up to 8 images, right? So that's another thing that I mentioned in the previous video, which is why with my Terry character, there was a 13 image version, because again, I think Nano Banana Pro and Nano Banana 2 take up to 14 inputs. And then there was an 8 image version because GPT Image 2 and Riverflow 2.0 only allowed up to 8 inputs. So again, if they're like, well, if we want to make it so that people don't have to decide if they're going to use Nano Banana 2 and Nano Banana Pro, which is usually the only stuff that works, at least for what I'm doing, because as I'll show you, a lot of images fail when I try to use GPT Image 2. They just censor the crap out of it, and I expected that to happen more with Nano Banana Pro, which is again why I can't wait for Dream 5.0 to to come out because we need more competition in this space. Nano Banana Pro and Nano Banana 2 are working perfectly right now, but if Google decides to change that, then we're completely fucked. So I just wanted to demonstrate, in the past, you could add up to 14 images. Now they've capped it to 8. Again, if you hit new element, you see that it's capped at 8, but it's still not bad. I always believe the more data you give the AI, the better, but it's been working out thus far. But anyway, you would come here, say new element, you would upload those images that you upscaled. Again, that was these right here. And so I'll go over to this element that I created for this character called Nora Vane, uploaded my 8 images, and what you see here is not what happened. Initially, there's nothing right here. The guidelines says that it's optional, which it turns out it's not, at least for what we're trying to do. And then they've now got this thing to where you can select character or model, which as of now, it doesn't matter which one you select. Again, that button, I call it the button compromise that they put up here, kind of makes a lot of this irrelevant, but I'm going to explain why what they did makes no sense. Anyway, you've got all of these, and they've got this general one because before they had all of this, they didn't even have these labels. So the old stuff is getting tagged as general. I didn't do anything with those, but this is where things get kind of crazy. Now, the cool thing about this is I don't have to start this process all over again because I'm going to show you exactly what happened. So think about this. None of this was here. This character description guidelines, none of this prompt was here. This category was not selected. It was on none. I think I selected model. And again, before this button was up here, this is what was going on. So let's pause and let's kind of slow down here. And you guys tell me if there's something I'm missing. So again, we went through all of this trouble to create this consistent character that we want to turn into an element so that we can make scenes like this with her where we get pretty consistent scenes, done some stuff already, just kind of to give you an idea of how the elements feature is supposed to work. Again, it's supposed to look like the character that you put all of this time and energy into creating, right? Well, that's not what happens when you do this. So again, there's nothing here, right? You see stuff now because they keep the history of these generations that are created. But once you upload your images, you select one of these categories. Again, they have this as optional, and I didn't have anything in there at first. You hit update. What's going to happen is something like this. I'm just going to hit regenerate just so you guys get an idea of what ends up happening. Let's just say I hit the button that says update. This is what it goes through. It's starting to analyze your image. It's saying blending angles and lighting. And the first time it started doing this, I was like, oh shit, this is going to be cool. It's going to make my consistent character look even doper, right? I'm like, hey, this is new. I can't wait to tell you guys about this feature. Because again, as we watch, you can see this thing, this kind of progress bar. It's doing some stuff. I'm just thinking it's doing like this multiple scans of these images, and it's going to come out with the most perfectly sculptured, consistent character that you could ever dream of. Now, I can't make this any larger because there's no way to blow this up, but what I'm showing you right here is what happens when you do that. And here's the thing. This is a much better version than what was happening before. What was happening before is something like this, to where the reference image just turned out to be something completely different. It was not my character. I'll show you another example. If you look at this one, which is my silver Sade character that I redid now that we've got this new system, again, none of this was filled in with the guidelines. I just uploaded the images, and what you'd get is something like this or like this, which is okay, but only got something like this because I actually started adding stuff in these guidelines and I wasn't before. And what you're also seeing is versions that came after other versions that I ended up deleting, because again, when things like this was happening, I'm like, okay, maybe there's a glitch or something. Maybe something happened that wasn't intended, right? And I kept deleting stuff and trying it again, and then I realized, okay, these guys have changed some shit. This is what was happening. You do that, it would generate something like this, which doesn't look like my character at all. Then it would also generate something that looks like that. Let's just run it and let's just have it do exactly that so that you can see what I'm talking about. So that didn't produce this right here, and maybe because they fixed some things, I don't know, but in the past, before they added that switch like I showed you, you would upload your 8 images, you'd get something like this right here, and then it would generate this look. But let's just look back at the basis of this. So let's go back to this one. This is not what I want right here. I do not want to have all of this text and stuff showing up right here. This, again, it generated generated something that does not look like any of these images. This was another version. It kind of looks like her, but this face just kind of has these chipmunk cheeks that is not present on this character over here. This one was the closest that I could get to this, and it only looks like this because that's when I started adding this prompt. And the only thing this prompt is, again, it's a very, very long prompt. So what you need to do is just grab it from the workflow that I gave you. All it is this prompt right here. And the only thing that I took out was change only the following. So you take all of this, you delete this, and then another thing that you'd want to do is you'd want to get something like Claude to give you a description of your character. And that's what I added as well. Again, all of this was before I got them to add this switch. And again, before that, this was as close as I got to what it was like in the past. But what we actually want is something like this, where it's not generating anything, you know, other than, okay, this is a preview, but I don't want you to change the way my character appears because that's confusing, right? And the other thing that I was trying to explain to those guys, like I told you guys a bit ago, something like this does not make sense when you've added reference images of what the character's supposed to look like. And we were going back and forth. They were telling us that somehow this was a better way, but I'm like, dude, if people go through all of this trouble to create a consistent character, again, let's take myself. Let's say that I put 8 images of myself, and then when I hit update, it generates something that doesn't look like me at all. Then I'm like, I can't use that because anything that I generate is not going to look like me. And so again, I was like, why would anyone use this when really the only thing that they're trying to do is create clones of the thing that they're trying to replicate? In this case, my consistent character doing different things in different scenes, like this right here. That came out pretty good. I was just doing a few different roles to see how it all looks. I've got her right here sitting on an ice throne. So again, that's kind of what I wanted to let you guys know about, because if you come into this trying to do it the old way and it doesn't work out exactly how you thought, that's because you need to turn this off. Don't let it just generate stuff. Again, it only looks this good like this now because before they added the switch, I came up with the idea. I'm going to take the prompt that I've gotten and I'm going to add a character description, and that'll help it lock it in. But now that they've made this workaround, I just turned this off. And let me do this for this one right here and turn this off. So I've got the raw matching look of my consistent character. I'm going to delete this one right here because again, I know this one was 11 images, I believe, but I'm going to go with what they're doing now. If they're trusting 8, I'll go with 8. And the same thing with this. We'll just leave it at that. And I'll update this one to say character. And there's no guidelines here. I probably will go back and update this one as well, exactly like the other ones. But that's what you need to know. I'm going to delete this right here because I've already been working with this character elsewhere in this workflow. And again, it does come out a lot better than what I just showed you guys. Some of them kind of still drift, but you know, for the most part, it nails it. And again, you're going to want to use Nano Banana 2 or Nano Banana Pro. It kind of sways back and forth between these because they both have their own look. I would say Nano Banana Pro has a more cinematic look, but Nano Banana 2 holds its own as well. But any of these ones that you see with these triangles on them, with a red triangle, which is content blocked, that was GPT Image 2 just being ridiculous as per usual. And you don't see a lot of them right now because I usually just delete it because it just leaves this ugly look on my canvas. And for the most part, I like to have a clean canvas. So once again, guys, I just wanted to share this quick update with you. Again, remember that if you want to use this workflow completely for free, I love this workflow because it just adds much more flexibility to being able to get lots of different angles for your consistent character. You can even change the image generator. You know, if you wanted to use something like Flux 2 Klein 9B, you can see what that gives you. And again, if you wanted to do a different character, all you'd have to do is come here, right click and say replace node content. You'd replace it with your new image, hit generate, and it's going to generate all of the angles for you for that consistent character, because that's exactly what I did here. I just duplicated this along with this character image, and then I swapped it out for this one, ran it, bada bing, bada boom. Anyway, if you don't have access to this workflow yet, then be sure to grab it by checking the link below this video. Sign up for Flora, play around with it, use your free credits, and then once you subscribe after you use all of your free credits using our partner link, you will receive 25% off every month for 12 months. If you do decide to subscribe, and it's no extra cost to you, but it does help the channel out, thanks in advance. As always, if you guys found this video helpful, then please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And when you do click that like and subscribe button, not only do you let YouTube know that you enjoy videos like these, but that you want to be alerted when we upload the next one. So once again, my name is Paul Maximus. Thanks for checking out this video. Please join me in the next one.